motion spiritual this, literally ready to end it all. And I was the first counselor to connect with her in a good way. I told her, why don't you come for our center, why don't you come to our program, we'll work with you, I'll be your counselor. But she said, I don't think I can do it. I don't think I'm ready. I said, well, don't worry about today or tomorrow, just think about the now. She thought about it some more and she said, hey, she kind of lifted her head. So I'll give it a try, she said. I'll give it a try. So that's great. We need to try. And that was my very first client I ever worked with. I don't remember a lot of this young woman, this young 15-year-old teenager. I remember she had a story of she was a juvenile diabetic. She's on insulin since the age of 8, isolated community from the north. She had no family, and mental health wise, didn't think too much of herself. And not eating well, stopped taking us. So she had all these, I guess you call them risk factors against her. She was going to make it. And I worked with her and about 6 weeks into her program. I said to her, you're doing really well. You're going back to school, you sobered up, you're making connections, you're taking risks with other people your age. I think you're ready to leave the program, to graduate. Before you go, there's more people I'd like to talk to, though, with people in your family I'd like to connect with. I said, tell them what you're doing. And she did said, don't have very much connections here in City Rock. And you don't have any family, in fact. The only person I have is my grandmother. I said, well, talk to her. Tell her who I am. Tell her what she wants to come to the center for, why she wants to spend time with me. Essentially, there's a family connection. She said, I will. And about a day or two came by before this old woman come walking down the stairs in my office at the Smith Clinic here in town. And she reminded my grandmother. It's old, and she had her hair with a handkerchief there, and pain and big hands and wrinkles. She had her ribbon skirt she was wearing. The Bauya quote word for ribbon skirt. And she sat with me. And for 45 minutes straight, I talked and I talked and I talked. Not a word from either of them is not in there. And I said, is there anything you'd like to ask of me? She shook her head. I said, okay. So I discharged my client back at the group. Just spoke them in there. Grandmother and I were sitting there. She said to me in this soft voice, she said, yeah, I said, yeah, I do. I thought I get scolded. I thought you're gonna scold me now. Don't worry. She said, I want to tell you a story of how I got to raise the granddaughter. And what she told me was one of the most amazing stories I've ever heard of resilience for our people. She said to me that that grandchild of hers, she raised since she was an infant. And she said when she found out her daughter was going to be delivering a baby, in those days, Bushmen would land in the community and fly you down south and give birth in Sulika. And they scooped her daughter up. Her time was to have a little baby and off she went in the plane, and grandmother was back home in the community. Their community is all on a shoreline, little shacks. No infrastructure in those days, no running water, no electricity, all done that way. And plane came and landed on the shores, and the daughter came home, this little beautiful baby. And grandmother was so happy, as her first grandchild. And she embraced her and loved her and took them to the back of her little house. Every morning, she said the grandmother would get up and she could wood to the stove to warm up the house so that mom could breastfeed the little girl. They would sit there and watch, just be amazed at life, how powerful life is, how special life is. Precious. And she said one day, she told me the story. One day, she got up. It was extra dark out, and cool. It was very cool out there. She said. So what she did was she put more wood into the stove, really get that old wood stove going. Room warmed up really quick, and it was hot. And then she saw the mom moving in the bed. The little babies are about to get up, and she said, He said, all of a sudden, she said, what happened, I recall, was a brilliant white light filled that room. And the next thing I remember was waking up on the floor and looking over to where I was sitting on Chesterfield was literally broken into toothpicks, splinters. And she realized what had happened. And what had happened was a bolt of lightning struck the chimney, came down, ricocheted, and hit where the grandmother was sitting and sent her flying, knocked her unconscious. But that bolt of lightning also ricocheted there and hit her daughter in the chest. She looked on the other side of the room. Her little daughter was there, and she had died. She was dead. Bolt of lightning. The little baby was there. She would have picked up the little baby and held it. That little baby girl just shaking like that. Shaking. Then she said to me, Ron, did you ever smell singed hair? Have you ever smelled singed human hair? And I go, yeah, I have. I swear to you, I could smell it in my office. What powerful that story was. I could smell singed hair. And she said, I could smell my little granddaughter's singed hair. Tips of her hair was all singed. I remember thinking in my mind, my client is as tough as nails. And I remember saying, which I've never said since to anybody, people are in recovery, I've never seen this about this one I did. I said to me, she's as tough as nails, and she's gonna make it. She's gonna make it. That's what kept reverberating in my brain, because I was so moved by the story. This amazing story grandmother came. Because of all the things that were against her, she was still gonna make it. That's what I'm thinking. And I don't remember a lot more of that first relationship I had with a client. Here as a young graduating LU and fresh counseling in St. Joseph's Hospital here in the city in the early 1980s. But eventually my wife and I moved away from Thunder Bay, went to Ottawa. Ottawa is a word in the language that means Ottawa. Some of the elders jokingly say it means place of confusion. Ottawa, just like it means. But we lived there, and I got a job with the federal government to travel across the country to give funding to our First Nations communities. By then, I think a low-level bureaucrats give away funding to NADAP especially. And eventually moved to Manitoba. And got a job with the provincial government as a consultant. My first week on the job, my executive director of the agency gave me 2 tickets. He said, Ron, here's a couple tickets. There's having a roundup this weekend at the Victoria Inn by the airport. A roundup. So, you know, treatment talk. That's about sobriety, people giving their messages of hope. And sometimes you have AA people there, NA people, also program. But you have a lot of amazing helpers that reach you and help us. And so I went. My wife and I went, and as I'm walking in the doors, the first guy I meet is the guy I used to know here in Thunder Bay. He looks at me, I look at him, says, Ron, what are you doing here? I said, well, I work here now. Oh, good for you. What are you doing here? He says, well, I just checked myself in the treatment. So we chatted for a while. As we're chatting, I could sense there's a figure here. A figure, I don't look there yet. Doctor, he chancellor, and shake his hand, and off he goes. I look over, and it's a young woman. A young adult woman. She's looking at me, and I'm looking at her, and smiling at me. She says, excuse me, she says, is your name Ron Linklater? I'm thinking, yeah. Yes, it is. You know? And then she says to me, well, do you remember me? Look at her and shake my head. Oh, sorry, I don't remember you. I'm new to the city. I've never lived in Manitoba before. I'm from Ottawa. Why? She says, well, she says, I want to let you know that you were my counselor when I was 15. And I want you to know that I'm 9 years sober, and I have my own family now, and I'm doing good. That's powerful. Resilience. That's about this culture of ours is so strong that people can literally live this. We look about this good life that we learn in institution. And then I feel my prison hat from CSI. Maybe she is confusing with somebody. Maybe, you know, how can I prove it? So I asked her a question only she would know the answer to. answered. She answered, so I knew that was her. You know, that was a young 15-year-old young woman now. That was in the mid-90s, year 2023. Bookum's probably long gone, that story, but that story continues on. That's what culture is about, storytelling. So we heal. Until we get well this evening. So I want to share that with you because it is a special occasion for Dr. Stella and being the first opening address. And we always open up in a ceremonial prayer, a traditional prayer. That's what I'd like to share with you this morning. And I brought my hand drum. It's a special occasion. I want to sing one of our traditional help songs to end this. It'll be done by 3:30 this morning. Yeah, what forget it. Watching The Price is Right, don't do it. Anyway, in God Namia. I think in the condition of God's, I think in them, which is ching and doji, under Bay Diana. Migwachmada, the Nakamada, the Jemanido. Chuichi young Gakana, Kadino Makana, Minoya, Mina do, Manoka Matisi with Juan Mission Nam, Ijimanido. Ijiman Giziman, Juan Mission Nam, Juan Mission Nam, Juan Mission Nam, Juan Mission. And that prayer is thanking Creator on our behalf because I was given Asema. We did things protocol the right way. And it allows me to, on our behalf, talk to Creator, connect with God, and ask God. I said, thank you, God. Thank you. I acknowledge to God that we need to understand love, to give love. I also told God that we're humble, we're weak, we're insignificant, we're small. And I told God that we need to express this idea of love. And think of that story I shared with the meaning behind that. Will guide you to the wisdom with. So with that, I'll pass it back on to our chair, Jimmy Wedge. Jimmy Wedge, Mr. Dalia. Thank you very much for listening to me, and I'll be back. I hope.
Very much. I was riveted by your story, and whenever I listen to you, you give us so much to think about. So thank you very much for that. So here we are. It is my honor today to introduce Lakehead University's President and Vice Chancellor, and offer this opportunity for you to meet her. I know she has been extremely busy, meeting as many people as possible. And if she hasn't met you yet, I know she will. She has really gone up to a very busy start. She has been touring both of our campuses and taken over on July 1st. And one thing I note about Dr. Sadal is that she has started her tenure with full commitment and enthusiasm. Searching for a new university president was challenging, but the challenges served also as opportunities to listen to each segment of the communities we serve. So much time and passionate energy was invested around this presidential search and the presidential search committee. Many meetings went into this process of finding the right fit for Lakehead University. I want to thank the 17-member search committee. Every one of those individuals seriously invested their time and effort into this enormous task. They all wanted to make good decisions on behalf of this great university. I also want to thank University Secretary and her team for all of the scheduling and communication. And finally, I want to thank the executive team. It is not easy when a university or any organization is in a leadership transition. Their professionalism was absolutely evident. So thank you to you. So the more I get to know Jill, I do believe we found the absolute right person for this role. She came to us from Emily Carr University. And I want to read you the sentiments of the chair of the board at Emily Carr University. And I thought this was very interesting when I read this. And he says, with mixed emotions, we announce Dr. Siddall, or Jill, as we know her, departure from Emily Carr, said Keith Kerrigan, the ECU board chair. Jill has been with our university's tight-knit community through some momentous times, from adjusting to our new campus to reinventing how we teach, learn, and work in a post-COVID world. Under her leadership, ECU has advanced its international ranking among art and design universities from 40th place in 2020 to 24th in 2022. Jill's calm, steady, and fair-minded leadership style has been instrumental in ECU's growth, particularly in equity and inclusion. With tremendous gratitude for her contributions, we wish Jill well as she leaves us for a new challenge. And I read that really sat with me, because a chair of the board does start to understand the president that they're working with. So, why did we choose Dr. Siddall? Well, Dr. Siddall was chosen for her calm, steady, and fair-minded leadership style. She was chosen because she guided CU through demanding times and took the occasion to reinvent the way they taught, learned, and worked in a post-COVID world. She was chosen because she advanced their international standing. But she was also chosen because she is a creative thinker, a great listener, very relational, transparent, someone who empowers others, someone who collaboratively works with people in her care. Most of all, I get the sense that Jill sees her role as a responsibility to the Lakehead staff, students, faculty, and our community, all of whom depend on this university's success. To me, that was instrumental. What was the intent? The Board of Governors is really looking forward to working with Jill in the years ahead. We know that there are many challenges to work through, but we believe Jill brings the knowledge, the experience, and common sense required. If we can all agree to use a collaborative and transparent approach to problem solving, Lakehead University will be better for it. And most importantly, all of our students will benefit from it. And now it is my privilege to introduce to you Lakehead University's President and Vice Chancellor, Dr. Jillian Siddall.
Thank you so much, Maria, for your very kind words, and Elder Linklater, Thank you for your words. We only met yesterday and already I can see that we're going to have a very special relationship and your words are powerful and very meaningful to everyone here. And thank you also for sharing your language with us. That is also very meaningful and I look forward to learning more of your language. Bonjour and welcome everyone. It's so wonderful to be here. I also want to say hello to everyone online and a special shout out to Aurelia where they are having a watch party. So hello Aurelia. It's wonderful to be here. It's wonderful to see more activity on campus as we move from the relative quiet of the summer months into our new academic year. Lakehead University has been a part of my life for a long time. I started as a new faculty member in the Department of English 25 years ago. I cannot believe that. I was thrilled to get that appointment. Tenure track jobs were scarce at that time. And I threw myself into Lakehead, into Thunder Bay, and later Aurelia once the new campus was established. It is so meaningful for me to be back here to a place I know so well and where I know so many people. In the 8 years I have been gone, much has happened. The new teaching commons is something that has happened since I left. And some of you may know that I was the founding director of what was then called Construction Development Center. And as the provost at that time used to like to say, Jill, you are the Instructional Development Center because I was the only one working in the Instructional Development Center. So it really means a lot to me to see how much that has evolved in the subsequent years. The new Center for Advanced Studies in Engineering and Sciences is a beautiful space, and it's great to see research and graduate studies housed in a more central location. I was also, excuse me, delighted to learn about Ingenuity, our new incubator. It's just fabulous that we have that here. The number of Indigenous students at Lakehead University has grown to 12%, and I am committed to increasing that number, working with the wonderful staff and faculty here. This is an important part of our reconciliation work. I also want to note that Dr. Cynthia Wesley Eskimo, who serves as the University Chair of Truth and Reconciliation, has graciously accepted my invitation to join the executive team, and she will ensure that Truth and Reconciliation remain top of mind for all of us. We've also seen an increase in the number of international students on our campus. They bring such richness to our environment, and we are very proud that they are an integral part of our Lakehead community. Since I started on July 1st, I have been spending much of my time listening. I have been visiting administrative and academic units on campus, including, just to name a few, research and innovation, graduate studies, student central, and other areas within student service. Student Central is also new since I left, and it is an incredibly beautiful space, a welcoming space. The Wolf Den and the hangar and the athletic staff, a tour of the residences, which I have to say I had never seen before, so it was really interesting to go through all of them and see where our students live when they're with us on campus. Also with the external relations team. These meetings and tours will continue over the coming weeks, including with deans and their faculties, and I look forward to meeting with you all. I've also had the pleasure of meeting with the LUSU executive twice now, and I look forward to working together with them this year. I am so impressed by them. They're an incredible group of students, and LUSU is doing incredible work for Lakehead. I've also attended internal relations committee meetings and have met with Gavin Duss, the president of LUPA, and I know he's here because I said hello to him earlier. And he and I will be meeting regularly throughout the year. I also spent a wonderful week in Aurelia, where I met with our principal and our executive team and enjoyed seeing so many familiar faces. I also had lunch with our fabulous chancellor, Dr. Rita Dembo. She's quite something. In addition to these meetings with the internal university community, I've had a number of meetings with external community members, including various MVPs and MPs, the mayor of Aurelia, the CEO of the hospital in Aurelia, and I will continue these meetings to engage in advocacy for LU and to enhance and develop partnerships. I also had a very good meeting with Harvey Yasno, interim CEO of Matawa, and with Chief Michelle Solomon, Chief of the Fort William First Nation. Both are very supportive of the Gitchikindaswan project, and I welcome that support as I am committed to working with Lakehead Indigenous faculty, staff, and students, and with Indigenous communities to bring that project to completion. Lakehead needs a dedicated, culturally appropriate space to facilitate support for Indigenous faculty, staff, and students, to facilitate pathways for Indigenous students to come to Lakehead for substantive and long-term conversations about truth and reconciliation, and to facilitate Indigenous, non-Indigenous partnerships in research, pedagogy, and economic development. I've seen what positive things can happen in purpose-built Indigenous gathering places on university campus. The Gitchikindaswan Center will play a profound role in Lakehead's efforts in truth and reconciliation in partnership with Indigenous communities. We have many other wonderful objectives ahead of us, like developing our next strategic plan. Developing the campus at Lakehead Aurelia to support growth, and creating a new veterinary medicine program in collaboration with the University of Guelph. As someone coming back to Thunder Bay with no vet and 2 dogs, I'm very grateful and really excited about that partnership. With regard to the strategic plan, we will be initiating the process for developing a new one in the fall term. I invite you all to engage in that process. It is important that the strategic plan is something the university community embraces as its own. It has been my experience that strategic planning can bring about significant change in priorities to which we are all committed, such as climate action, reconciliation, equity, diversity, and inclusion, addressing the oppression of women, LGBTQ2S+, Indigenous, Black, and people of color, and people with disabilities. It is also our opportunity to define and delineate our commitment to the student experience at Lakehead, to teaching and learning, and to excellence in research. I know from experience, 17 years of experience, that Lakehead University is a very special place where we can make amazing things happen. We all need to work together to achieve our goals, and I look forward to working together with you all as a university community. I have been a student or worked at a university all of my life, and I still feel that tingle of excitement when September rolls around. I hope that you are also feeling that excitement. The students are on their way. They'll be moving into residence soon. I want to thank you all so much for coming today, and I look forward to meeting even more of you today and in the weeks to come. Thank you. I'd like to invite Elder Lakehead up again to the podium.
Let's see this there. That word I shared with you earlier about day, Shnabe word for heart. You all have one in your chest. Day. And creator, according to our constitution, he forever loves. They talked about instruments that are given for people. This is one of them. Due gun, they call this instrument. That word is in that word, due gun. Heartbeat. When you were all inside your mom's womb, you heard this song for the first time. You heard this. Our people know that this is a healing instrument. Our people know that this gift that Creator gave to the people is to be used in their ceremonies, their our gatherings, connect with people. So I'll sing to you our family song that we were given to share with people when they start to impart a journey, such as what Dr. Zanel, all of us will be doing a journey. And because of our teachings, we're to be humble people. Humble people. It's one of our 7 teachings. If I send this one, think lowly of yourself. The song talks about that. Song is about asking for help. I'll sing that song for you. Oh. Reaching out, reaching out, reaching out, reaching out, Oh, that song is asking for help. Teaching it's help. We ask in that song, we are asking help from our father, our mother, our grandfather, our grandmother, and creator. Said what that song is asking for help. We all have those in our lives. All human beings have father, mother, grandmother, grandfather, and creator. All human beings have that concept. Amongst the Shinaapic people, this idea of our rocks can be grandparents. If you go to our ceremonies, you welcome the grandfather. Hello, grandfather. It's like you say, oh, your actual granddad. Lucky enough to know the grandparents. And grandmothers, we have the concept of grandmothers. Some of the women go to ceremony. The word, that moon that lights up, you see her as grandmother. So human beings have these connections. You're all connected already. With this city of own biological grandmother. The Gigishish is that word for moon, the night sun. And of course, Gishimanadu, creator of the God. Dawi, father. And we refer to the son as father. Dani, mother, or so all human beings have this already this connection. What makes you strong? What you can ask for help now with these beings. You go on your journey. You start your career. You start your special walks. Sing the song. Hum the song. Think of these beings that will come to you and work with you. That's our belief, and you think about why we're still here for all these thousands of years, and then you know why God gave forever and here. That's probably why. It's some of these- So that, all the best to the president. And hope those dogs of yours get a good veterinarian. We too had a hard time. Hard to come by these vets, right? Anyway, you all have a great day and really impressed to see some beautiful human beings here. They're good people. So that's a big achievement.
So now, this part is the fun part. We're going to have some refreshments, and, get to know each other better. And those of you who haven't, met, our new president, please introduce yourself. So thank you very much, for your attendance, this event.